Today, we are going to tell you a story that will make your blood run cold. The story of a man who was found dead thousands of kilometers away from home in a rented car after receiving a mysterious letter from his wife. This is an investigation where every answer gives rise to two new questions, where the truth is intertwined with lies so closely that even the most experienced detectives are stumped. March 17, 2024. A quiet street in the suburbs of San Jose, California. Mike Donovan, an employee of the Lux Drive car rental company, arrived at the address to pick up a Lexus ES 350 that had not been returned on time. The renter hadn't answered the phone for 2 days. I knocked, no one answered. The car doors were locked, but through the tinted glass I saw a silhouette in the back seat. At first I thought the client was just sleeping, but something was wrong. The person sleeping in the back seat was 36-year-old Vivek Malhotra, a talented software developer at Quantum.Edge, one of the most promising startups in Silicon Valley. His body was neatly laid out, his arms folded across his chest, as if in a pose for a religious ceremony. No visible signs of violence, no signs of a struggle. But 5 hours before the body was discovered, the local police station received an email. The sender was Lakshmi Malhotra, Vivek's wife, who was in Mumbai, India. "My husband is in danger. Please check his rental car, Lexus ES 350, license plate CFD 5273. I'm afraid it's too late. Don't call me. I might be under surveillance." Detective Carlos Ramirez, a veteran of the San Jose Police Department's homicide unit, recalls, "What struck me the most was the precision of the details. The license plate number, the model, the address. We hadn't even identified the body yet, and the victim's wife, who was on another continent, already knew what had happened." Who was Vivek Malhotra? According to his colleagues, he was a brilliant mind, quiet and focused. Vivek moved to the United States 5 years ago on a prestigious H-1B visa for highly skilled workers. He joined Quantum.Edge 3 years ago and quickly became an indispensable specialist. He was working on something innovative, something related to machine learning. It was called the Scariest Project. He rarely talked about it, but when he did, his eyes would literally light up, says Ashok Gupta, Vivek's junior colleague. In India, his family was waiting for him. His wife Lakshmi, a chemistry teacher at a college in Mumbai, and his 7-year-old daughter Ishita. According to neighbors in Mumbai, it was a perfect family, despite the distance. Vivek would call his daughter at a certain time every month and never missed a call on birthdays and holidays. "He was going to move us to America this year. All the documents were ready. We were already packing our bags," Lakshmi says with a tremor in her voice in a phone interview. But something changed in the last month. He became different. He spoke in riddles, asked us not to trust anyone. During the search of the rented car, detectives found several strange details. Vivek's personal laptop was missing, although his colleagues claim that he never parted with it. In the glove compartment, they found a receipt from the Pacific View Hotel in the name of Rishi Sharma, a name that no one in Vivek's circle recognized. And most mysteriously, on the passenger seat was a fresh issue of the Mumbai Chronicle, a newspaper that is not available in the United States, and the date of issue was the day before his death. The preliminary autopsy showed that the death was due to cardiac arrest, but without any apparent natural causes. Toxicology analysis has been ordered, but the results will be ready in 2 weeks. "There are a lot of inconsistencies here," comments Detective Ramirez. "We see a successful professional, a loving family man who suddenly starts leading a double life. And then he is found dead in a position reminiscent of a Hindu funeral rite. And the strangest thing is the letter from his wife, who seems to have known about the death before it happened." Lakshmi Malhotra denies sending any letters to the police. "I didn't write any messages. It is impossible. I learned about my husband's death from your officers." Who then sent that fateful letter? And how did the sender know about the details that no one else knew at the time? The investigation led detectives to the Quantum.Edge office. Arjun Singh, the project manager of the project Vivek was working on, looked tense. Vivek was working remotely for the last 2 weeks. He said he had a family matter. We didn't interfere. He always completed his work on time. But according to the building's security guard, Vivek came to the office in the middle of the night at least 3 times during those 2 weeks, something he had never done before. Vivek's phone also became a source of mystery. A message from an unknown caller was found in it. "Meet me near the bridge. Bring Kashir." The last message was dated the day he died. What is Kashir? Why was Vivek leading a double life? Who sent the letter on behalf of his wife? And most importantly, was his death a murder disguised as a natural cause? While the detectives are trying to unravel this tangle of mysteries, Vivek Malhotra's body is being prepared for transportation to his homeland, where his family, who never got to see him in life, is waiting for him. And the investigation is just beginning, revealing the dark secrets of a man who seemed to have lived a simple and honest life. To understand the mystery of Vivek Malhotra's death, we need to go back in time. Who was he really? What was the life of a man whose death left more questions than answers? Vivek was born in Delhi, in the family of a middle-ranking civil servant. From an early age, he showed remarkable abilities in math and programming. His classmates remember him as a quiet but intelligent boy who always kept to himself in noisy groups. He was special, says Pritam Verma, a school friend of Vivek's. At 11, he wrote his first program. At 15, he was already helping local entrepreneurs build websites. But you know what's strange? He never boasted about his talents, as if he was deliberately trying not to attract attention. After passing his exams with flying colors, Vivek entered the prestigious Indian Institute of Technology in Delhi. It was there that he met Arjun Singh, who would later become his boss at Quantum Edge. "We were rivals," Arjun admits during the interview, "but healthy competition only pushed us both to do better." Vivek was always one step ahead, especially in machine learning algorithms. After graduation, the two went their separate ways. Vivek worked for several Indian IT companies until he met Lakshmi at a wedding of mutual friends. A year later, they got married. Vivek was the perfect husband, Lakshmi recalls, looking through a photo album in her apartment in Mumbai. Attentive, caring, always thinking about the future. When Ishita was born, he took care of half of the work. I never heard him raise his voice. 5 years ago, Vivek received an offer from an American company. Initially, the family was supposed to move together, but there were problems with the documents for Lakshmi and Ishita. They had to wait. "We talked every day via video call," Lakshmi continues, wiping away her tears. "He would show me his apartment, tell me about his colleagues, his successes. He always said that he kept us in his heart." 3 years ago, Arjun Singh, who was already working at Quantum Edge at the time, invited Vivek to join the development team. They were working on the Kashir project, a data analytics system that could predict user behavior with incredible accuracy. "It was a revolutionary technology," explains Ashok Gupta, Vivek's junior colleague. "Imagine an algorithm that understands you better than you do." Vivek was the heart of the project, its genius. But in recent months, tensions have been building within the team. Sonia Mehta, the company's CFO, pushed for faster technology implementation, while Vivek wanted to run additional security tests. "He became paranoid," says Sonia, constantly talking about the ethical implications, about possible misuse of the technology. Arjun tried to calm him down, but Vivek stood his ground. Meanwhile, in Mumbai, Lakshmi made a disturbing discovery. While sorting through old things, she found her husband's spare cell phone, which he had forgotten the last time he came home. "I wasn't going to spy," she defends herself. "I just wanted to check if there were any important contacts or documents." In the phone, she found dozens of messages from a woman named Dipti. The messages were coded, with strange phrases. "An owl has arrived. A tiger is on the hunt. The river has changed course." But some were personal. "I miss you. When will I see you again?" "I was shocked," Lakshmi admits. Did Vivek really have a mistress? It didn't fit in my head. but I didn't have time to talk to him about it. Now I regret it. Detectives quickly identified Dipti Patel as a 32-year-old data analyst who worked for Silicate Systems, a competitor to Quantum Edge. But she did not appear for questioning. Neighbors reported that they had not seen her for several days. Meanwhile, an investigation revealed that Vivek had rented a small apartment in another San Jose neighborhood that none of his colleagues knew about. Here, he lived under the name Rishi Sharma. In the apartment, they found a carefully disguised safe with documents in that name, a passport, driver's license, and credit cards. It was a full-fledged alternative identity, explains Detective Ramirez. Not just fake documents, but a whole persona with a history, a past, even social media profiles. Whoever created this persona spent years developing it. Among Rishi's belongings, they found a photograph of a young Vivek with an unknown man. On the back is an inscription in Hindi: "Brothers forever. Truth will prevail." This man did not appear in any of the family photos provided by Lakshmi. When the detectives showed the photo to Arjun Singh, he turned visibly pale and denied knowing the man. But a body language expert, analyzing the video of the interrogation, noted clear signs of lying. Meanwhile, in India, Lakshmi felt that she was being followed. Strangers near Ishita's school, strange unanswered calls, a sense of someone else's presence in her empty apartment. "I'm afraid," she admits in a phone conversation with Detective Ramirez, "there's something more going on, something Vivek hasn't told me. I think he knew he was going to die. The investigation is just beginning, but it is already clear. Vivek Malhotra was not who he seemed. Behind the mask of a quiet family man and a brilliant programmer was a man with secrets, a double life, and possibly a mission that ultimately cost him his life. And somewhere in the network of messages, encrypted files, and alternate identities lies the truth about what really happened that fateful day in the rented Lexus." The third week of the investigation. Detective Ramirez has dozens of folders, hundreds of screenshots, and thousands of pages of data on his desk. In the digital world, Vivek Malhotra has left a trail that leads in an unexpected direction. When a person dies, their devices become the most honest witnesses, says forensic scientist Rajesh Kumar, a visiting specialist in cybercrime. He traveled from Bangalore at the request of the Indian consulate to help with the investigation. The first breakthrough came when the experts managed to access Vivek's cloud storage. Behind the corporate account was a private one protected by complex passwords. Inside were tens of gigabytes of encrypted information. "We used a quantum algorithm to crack it," Kumar explains. "The technology is experimental, but effective. What we found changed our entire understanding of the case." Vivek Malhotra had 3 secret bank accounts in the Cayman Islands. Regular transactions, always the same amount. 57,380 Tooler coming from Ashwatha Solutions, a ghost company registered in Singapore 5 years ago. The owner of the company is Rishi Sharma, Vivek's alter ego. "It's a classic money laundering scheme," Ramirez comments. "But where did the money come from? What was Vivek or Rishi being paid for? And why such a strange amount each time?" At the same time, experts found that Vivek had developed his own cryptocurrency called Kashir coin. It was used by only a few people who have not yet been identified. The value of each coin is unstable, but on the day of Vivek's death, it plummeted to 0. At this point in the investigation, an unexpected twist occurred. Dipti Patel, the mysterious woman in the messages, showed up at the San Jose police station herself. "I was afraid," she explains, nervously fiddling with the bracelet on her wrist. "When I found out about Vivek's death, or Rishi's death, I didn't know what to do. At first I ran away, but then I realized that staying silent would only make things worse." Deepti told a shocking story. She met a man who called himself Rishi Sharma at a tech conference 2 years ago. They started dating, but quickly realized that they had more than feelings in common. "Rishi, Vivek told me about the Kashir project. It's not just an algorithm, it's a weapon. a system capable of manipulating mass consciousness through social media. It can influence political decisions, shape public opinion, even predict and direct social unrest. According to Dipti, Vivek joined Quantum-Edge with a specific goal in mind: to find and take down Kshir from within. He believed the technology would fall into the wrong hands. He became paranoid in the last few months, Dipti recalls, talking about being followed, about them finding him, making me use code phrases in my messages. He said that if something happened to him, I should contact his wife. The detectives checked this information. Dipti did buy a ticket to Mumbai the day before Vivek's death, but she never left. Meanwhile, an external hard drive hidden in a ventilation shaft was found in Rishi's rented apartment. The data was encrypted, but cryptographers managed to decrypt some of it. There was documentation about Kshir, Kumar explains, technical details, schematics, potential applications, and a list of people titled stakeholders. The first two names were crossed out. The third was Arjun Singh. When detectives questioned Arjun again, he admitted that he knew about Vivek's double life. Yes, I knew he was using the name Rishi Sharma, but not for criminal purposes. It's part of our security. Project Kshir is so revolutionary that we all use pseudonyms for some operations. It's standard practice. Arjun categorically denied any criminal intentions in using the technology. We are developing a tool to better understand user behavior, nothing more. All this talk of weaponization and manipulation is nonsense. Vivek was a brilliant programmer, but lately, he has become unstable. In India, the situation has taken a new turn. Lakshmi Malhotra received a package from the United States. Inside were Vivek's personal belongings: a watch, a wedding ring, a notebook, and a note. He tried to save everyone. Now it's your turn to save Kshir. They will come for you. Lakshmi turned to the local police. Officers set up round-the-clock surveillance of her house, but the mystery only deepened. They found strange entries in Vivek's notebook: coordinates, dates, names, and among them, Rajiv Sharma, 1705-2021, true. I don't know any Rajiv Sharma, says Lakshmi. Vivek never mentioned this name. But now I'm thinking, maybe I didn't know my husband at all? Back in San Jose, the detectives decided to dig deeper into the working relationship at Quantum-Edge. Sonia Mehta, the CFO, gave conflicting accounts. Vivek was a complicated man, she says. Brilliant, but with eccentricities. He often argued with Arjun about the direction of Kshir's development. Arjun saw the commercial potential. Vivek was more concerned with the ethical aspects. However, junior programmer Ashok Gupta told a different story. Vivek and Arjun were planning to sell the technology on the black market together. I overheard them talking. They were talking about the big score and the final solution. Then they noticed me, and the conversation changed dramatically. Vivek Malhotra's digital footprint is as intricate and contradictory as his life. Who is he? A genius who tried to prevent a catastrophe? A spy who infiltrated the company for a specific purpose? Or perhaps a blackmailer who created the threat himself in order to neutralize it later? And what is Kshir really? Is it a revolutionary technology or a Trojan horse embedded in the digital infrastructure of the modern world? The answers are waiting in the dark corners of the network, protected by passwords and ciphers of a man who foresaw his own death, but failed to prevent it. The fourth week of the investigation. Detectives Ramirez and Kumar are sitting in a conference room at the San Jose Police Department, surrounded by photos, documents, and communication diagrams. On the center screen is an image of two men, Vivek Malhotra and Rajiv Sharma. We found a connection, Ramirez says, sipping his iced coffee. Rajiv Sharma, the tech mogul who founded InnoVision Technologies, died 3 years ago under mysterious circumstances. The official version is that he had a heart attack while on vacation in the Maldives. But an autopsy was never performed. The body was cremated within 24 hours of his death. Rajiv Sharma was one of the first Indian entrepreneurs to achieve $1 billion fortune in technology. His company developed artificial intelligence systems for the defense sector and large corporations. But the most interesting thing is that 3 months before his death, he publicly announced the development of a revolutionary behavioral prediction algorithm. The algorithm was called Amrita, Sanskrit for nectar of immortality, explains Kumar. Interestingly, the Sanskrit root of the word kshir means milk, the main ingredient for making Amrita in Hindu mythology. Further investigation revealed that immediately after Rajiv's death, his company was divided among competitors. Some of the technology and patents went to a holding company that had an indirect connection to Quantum-Edge. But the biggest breakthrough was a discovery that shocked even experienced detectives. DNA analysis of Vivek's personal belongings showed a genetic relationship with a profile of Rajiv Sharma stored in a medical database. They were related, the forensic expert states. The degree of kinship corresponds to cousins or even siblings. Without DNA samples of the parents, it is impossible to establish more precisely. When this information was conveyed to Lakshmi, she was silent for a long time. Then she said quietly, "Vivek never talked about brothers. He said he was an only child in the family. But one day, he received a strange phone call. He was speaking in Hindi, thinking I couldn't hear him. He said the phrase, 'Bye, I will finish what you started.' Bye means brother." Meanwhile, detectives found another clue. Vivek Malhotra, as he was known to his colleagues and friends, appeared in the United States only 5 years ago. Before that, there was no trace of a person with that name and biography. All the documents were impeccable, but they were created on the basis of a person who had died in childhood. It's a classic scheme for creating a new identity, Ramirez explains, taking the data of a deceased child of the same age and creating an adult person that they could have become. This is not amateur work. Such operations are usually carried out by intelligence agencies or very powerful organizations. Sonia Mehta, the CFO of Quantum-Edge, admitted during a second interrogation that she had seen Vivek with unknown people a week before his death. "They met at the Golden Lotus restaurant," she said. "I was there with clients and happened to notice Vivek. He was sitting with 2 Indians in business suits. The conversation looked tense. When Vivek noticed me, he quickly said goodbye to them and left through the back door." Arjun Singh, meanwhile, was showing increasing signs of nervousness. A company security guard said that after Vivek's death, Arjun came to his office several times at night. He was trying to access Vivek's work computer, the security officer said. He said he was looking for important project files. But we have a strict protocol. Access to personal workstations after an employee's death is possible only with police permission. When detectives confiscated Vivek's work computer, they found that someone had tried to access it remotely several times after the owner's death. The IP address led to Arjun Singh's home router. In India, Lakshmi continued her own investigation. In one of Vivek's boxes of old belongings, she found a 10-year-old diary written in a mixture of Hindi and English. "Dharma demands retribution," she reads in a phone conversation with Detective Ramirez. "I swore on my parents' ashes that justice would be served. R should not have done this. Now it's my turn to play. The first move is to disappear. The second is to become someone else. The third is to penetrate the heart of the enemy." The diary also contained a reference to a tragedy. 15 years ago, the fire took everything. They called it an accident. I know the truth. Only me and Rajiv were left. We swore on blood. Then the pages were torn out. The last entry is dated the day Vivek received a job offer in the United States. "The way is open. Let the game begin." At Quantum-Edge, detectives questioned Ashok Gupta, Vivek's junior colleague. He told them about Vivek's strange behavior a few days before his death. "He called me to the terrace of the building, away from the cameras and microphones," Ashok recalls. "He said he was afraid of the Kshir project leaking data, that the technology could fall into the hands of people who would use it to control the masses. He looked really scared. He said something that puzzled me. History is repeating itself. First, they killed Rajiv, now it's my turn. When Ashok asked who Rajiv was, Vivek suddenly stopped talking and changed the subject. He asked Ashok to keep backups of certain files, but not to tell Arjun. I did as he asked, Ashok says. The files are encrypted, protected by a biometric key. I think we need Vivek's voice sample to open them. Unexpectedly, another witness, Kamal Verma, a former classmate of Vivek's, became involved in the case. He contacted the San Jose police after the news of Vivek's death was published. I saw the photo on the news and couldn't believe my eyes, says Kamal. The person you call Vivek Malhotra is actually Vikram Sharma. We studied together in Delhi. Vikram disappeared after a tragedy happened to his family. A fire destroyed their house and killed their parents. The only other survivor was his older brother Rajiv. The ghosts of the past are finally beginning to take shape. Vivek Malhotra was not who he claimed to be. His path to Quantum Edge and the Kshir project was no accident. Behind it all was a story of family tragedy, betrayal, and a search for justice that lasted for years. But who really killed Vivek? And did he really fall victim to the same forces that, according to him, destroyed his brother? The answers may lie in encrypted files protected by the voice of a man who will never speak again. The fifth week of the investigation began with a shocking discovery. A detailed toxicological analysis of Vivek Malhotra's body revealed the presence of tetrodotoxin, a deadly poison found in fugu fish and some species of marine life. This is an extremely rare substance in the practice of murder, explains Dr. Anita Patel, a forensic expert. Tetrodotoxin blocks nerve impulses, causing paralysis, which leads to respiratory failure. A critical feature is that it leaves almost no traces in conventional toxicology tests and can easily be disguised as a heart attack. According to the expert, extraordinary skills are required to isolate and use this poison. Such knowledge is usually possessed by professional chemists or pharmacists. Lakshmi Malhotra is a chemistry teacher, specializing in organic chemistry, Ramirez says thoughtfully, looking through the dossier. But she was in India at the time of the murder. Although the poisoning could have happened earlier, tetrodotoxin acts gradually at low doses. Meanwhile, cryptographers have finally decrypted most of the files from the hard drive found in Rishi Sharma's apartment. The documentation of the Kshir project turned out to be much more eerie than previously thought. It's not just an algorithm, explains Rajesh Kumar, flipping through the pages of the documentation. It's a complex system of surveillance and manipulation. It integrates with existing social networks and platforms, collects data about users, creates psychological profiles, and determines what content can change their behavior or beliefs. The documents contain tests on focus groups, where Kshir demonstrated incredible efficiency. The algorithm could make 78% of the participants change their political beliefs within 2 weeks by simply selecting content in their newsfeed. In the wrong hands, this technology is a weapon of mass influence, Kumar says. Imagine how it could be used during elections, social conflicts, or to manipulate markets. Among the files, they found a list of potential clients, political parties, corporations, even military structures in different countries. Tensions rose when detectives learned that Dipti Patel had disappeared after her visit to the police. Her apartment was found upside down, her computers stolen, and a symbol scrawled on the wall, a stylized eye in a triangle. It's the same symbol we found in Vivek's notes, Ramirez said. It looks like an emblem of some kind of organization. Neighbors said they saw 2 Indian-looking men in business clothes leaving Dipti's apartment at night. One of them was carrying a laptop. In India, Lakshmi Malhotra received an anonymous call. A mechanically altered voice offered her $5 million for Vivek's stuff and her silence. He knew about the diary, Lakshmi says, trembling. He named specific pages. He said I could secure Ishita's future if I was smart, and if I wasn't, we were both in danger. Lakshmi refused, instead turning to the U.S. consulate. She and her daughter were granted emergency visas to travel to California under FBI protection. Meanwhile, detectives delved into Arjun Singh's past. It turned out that he worked for a competitor company, Innovision Technologies, before it was split up after Rajiv Sharma's death. Arjun and Rajiv were not just competitors, they were enemies, says a former colleague of both, who asked not to be named. Rajiv accused Arjun of industrial espionage. He even threatened to take him to court, but shortly before Rajiv's death, the conflict suddenly subsided. No one knew why. When the detectives pressed Arjun with this evidence, he finally broke down. "Yes, I knew Rajiv," he admits, wiping sweat from his brow. "And yes, we were enemies. But I didn't kill him. Listen, the Kshir project was originally called Amrita and belonged to Rajiv. After his death, I received the code fragments along with other assets that our parent company acquired. I thought I could recreate the system, but it was incomplete without the key algorithms." According to Arjun, Vivek's appearance at Quantum Edge was not accidental. He came with ready-made solutions to problems we had been struggling with for months. At the time, I suspected that he was somehow connected to Rajiv, but I couldn't prove it. He was brilliant, but I felt he had his own agenda. The breakthrough in the investigation came when Ashok Gupta delivered to the police encrypted audio recordings that Vivek had been secretly creating over the past few months using hidden microphones in the office. "He asked me to release them in case something happened to him," Ashok explains. "I was waiting until I knew who I could trust." The tapes were shocking. They showed Arjun Singh discussing with Sonia Mehta the use of Kshir to manipulate the stock market. "When the algorithm is fully operational, we will be able to influence stock prices, forcing people to sell or buy at the right time. Even a 0.1% fluctuation will bring millions," Arjun said in the recording. In another recording, Sonia discussed with an unidentified man the possibility of taking out Vivek. "He knows too much," she said, "and this talk of his about ethics is starting to influence others. If he speaks publicly about the real capabilities of Kshir, it's all over. Can we have an accident?" The voice answered, "Heart attacks sometimes happen even to young people, especially under stress." Detectives identified the voice as Pramod Kapoor, former director of security at Innovision Technologies and current consultant at Quantum Edge. Arjun and Sonia were detained. During a search of Sonia's office, a vial with the remains of a white powder, which turned out to be tetrodotoxin, was found. They also found a ready-made plan for Quantum Edge to go public with a valuation of several $1 billion based on Kshir technology. It would seem that the case was solved. But then, Detective Ramirez noticed a strange detail on one of the recordings. Vivek, who was recording Arjun's conversation with investors, quietly said a phrase in Hindi. "Wake up, little brother. The game is almost over." The analysis revealed that this phrase was the key to another encrypted data storage that contained incredible information. Rajiv Sharma did not die 3 years ago. His death had been staged. And the biggest shocker of all, the files contained photos dated just a month earlier. They showed Rajiv Sharma meeting with Lakshmi Malhotra in a Mumbai hotel. "We thought we knew who the victim was and who the perpetrator was," says a bewildered Ramirez. "But it looks like this maze has more entrances and exits than we realized." When detectives tried to contact Lakshmi to ask her more questions, FBI agents delivered some startling news. The plane she and her daughter were supposed to be on to San Francisco landed empty, and Lakshmi and Ishita never boarded, even though their tickets were checked in and their luggage was loaded. "This isn't just a murder," Ramirez told his colleague. "This is a shadow game that has been going on for years, and I'm afraid Vivek was just a pawn in it." The phone rang in the detective's office. An unknown number appeared on the display, and when he picked up the phone, he heard a familiar voice with an Indian accent. "Good afternoon, Detective Ramirez. My name is Rajiv Sharma. I think we need to talk about my brother." "Rajiv Sharma is dead. I'm just a ghost wearing his face." These words were spoken in a darkened room at the Fairmont Hotel in downtown San Francisco. Detective Ramirez was sitting across from a man whose death had been officially registered 3 years ago. Tall, with graying temples and a piercing gaze, Rajiv Sharma was the living embodiment of his photographs, only slightly older and more tired. "I faked my own death to save myself," Rajiv continued, swirling the glass of whiskey in his hands. "But I didn't realize it would lead to my brother's real death." According to him, the Amrita project, later renamed Kshir, was never just a commercial product. The algorithm was commissioned by a secretive Indian intelligence unit to counter information influences during elections and international conflicts. But when I realized the true potential of the technology, I was terrified. Rajiv spoke quietly, as if afraid the walls might be listening in. It could be used not only for protection, but also for total control. I refused to share the full version, sabotaging my own project. That's when the threats started. At first, they were veiled, then open. Rajiv had a choice: complete the project or die in an accident. I decided to disappear. My brother Vikram, whom you knew as Vivek, helped me. We staged my death in the Maldives, using the body of an unfortunate tourist who drowned the same day. Corrupt officials helped with the paperwork. Rajiv was hiding around the world while his brother was on a mission to infiltrate Quantum Edge, the company that bought some of InnoVision's assets, to track down who was in control of Kashir. Vikram was a programming genius, even more talented than me, Rajiv said with a bitter smile. He created the Vivek Malhotra persona and a legend for it. He even married Lakshmi to reinforce his new identity. Did Lakshmi know who her husband really was? Asked Ramirez. At first, no. But about a year ago, Vikram told her the truth. And then, Rajiv trailed off. She contacted me. It turned out that Lakshmi was not just Vivek's wife. She was herself an Indian intelligence agent who had been assigned to the Sharma family years earlier to monitor the development of Amrita. When Vikram revealed his true identity to her, she was faced with a choice, Rajiv explained, to fulfill her duty to the service or to protect the man she truly loved and our cause. Lakshmi chose Vikram. She helped her brothers using her connections and knowledge. But the game turned out to be more dangerous than they thought. In parallel with this conversation, FBI agents found Dipti Patel, who was hiding in the town of Santa Cruz under an assumed name. "I was working undercover for the NSA," she confessed during interrogation. "My job was to monitor foreign technologies that could pose a threat to U.S. national security. Kashir came on our radar 2 years ago." Dipti confirmed that her affair with Rishi was not accidental. She purposefully got close to him, suspecting his connection to the project. But over time, she realized that he was not an enemy. Vikram wanted to stop Kashir, not use it. We became true allies. He revealed to me his true identity and the brothers' plan. I agreed to help. The detectives finally put together a complete picture of the conspiracy. Arjun Singh and Sonia Mehta were just the executors, pawns in a much larger game. Behind them was an international group calling itself the Triangle, an alliance of corporate leaders and former intelligence officers who sought to acquire technologies like Kashir to manipulate markets and political processes. They offered Arjun a place in their circle in exchange for a working version of the algorithm, Rajiv explains. He accepted, not realizing who he was dealing with. When Vikram discovered that Arjun had almost completed recreating Kashir using fragments of the original code, he activated the final part of his plan. He began secretly recording all conversations and gathering evidence against Triangle. But they figured him out, Rajiv said quietly. Sonia somehow found out that he wasn't who he said he was. Maybe someone in Indian intelligence tipped her off. The poison was not chosen by chance. Tetrodotoxin is a signature method of elimination in the Triangle's arsenal. It's symbolic that the same poison they planned to use to fake Rajiv's death 3 years ago ended up taking his brother's life. "Where are Lakshmi and Ishita now?" asked Ramirez. "Safe," Rajiv replied. "They never got on that plane. Instead, another vehicle took them to a secret safe house. Triangle won't stop until they get the Kashir or destroy everyone who knows about it." And the original code? Does it exist? Rajiv smiled bitterly. Amrita's original code contained a critical error that I deliberately left out. Any full version of the algorithm will self-destruct after the third use, destroying all related data. This is my insurance policy. Meanwhile, the arrest of Arjun and Sonia caused an unexpected reaction. Quantum Edge's shares plummeted 70% in one day of trading. And the next morning, Pramod Kapoor, the former chief security officer of InnoVision, was found dead in his car. Next to him was a suicide note in which he confessed to involvement in the murder of Vivek Malhotra on the orders of higher powers. A classic scapegoat, Ramirez commented. Someone is covering their tracks. Rajiv gave the detectives a flash drive with evidence against Triangle. Names, dates, bank transfers, and conversation recordings. Everything his brother had collected at the cost of his own life. I will finish what Vikram started, he said firmly. But it has to be done publicly. If this information goes only to the intelligence services, it will simply be classified as a state secret. The next morning, the world's media exploded with a sensation. A man calling himself Rajiv Sharma published an in-depth investigation into the Triangle and the Scariest project simultaneously on 50 major news platforms. Documents, videos, audio recordings, everything the Sharma brothers had collected became available to millions of people. A week after the publication, Detective Ramirez received another call from Rajiv. "I'm disappearing, this time for good," he said. Vikram is dead, but his sacrifice was not in vain. The Triangle is falling apart, its members betraying each other to save their own skins. Lakshmi and Ishita will start a new life, with new names, far away from here. And I died 3 years ago, remember? But the truth must prevail, Ramirez protested. Isn't that what your brother used to say? The truth has already won, Rajiv replied quietly. But sometimes victory requires sacrifice. Goodbye, detective. The case of Vivek Malhotra's murder was officially closed. Arjun Singh and Sonia Mehta were sentenced to long prison terms. Pramod Kapoor was posthumously recognized as an accomplice. The Scariest technology was classified as a potential weapon of mass destruction, and its development is prohibited by international agreements. But questions remain. Where did Rajiv Sharma disappear to? Are Lakshmi and Ishita really safe? And most importantly, did the original Amrita code really contain a bug? Or was it just a legend to reassure the world? A month after the case was closed, Detective Ramirez received a small package in the mail with no return address. Inside was a small gold pendant in the shape of a drop of milk, engraved with the Sanskrit word Kashir, and a note. Sometimes the best way to protect the world is to hide the truth from it. Thank you for helping me play my game. Vow. Who sent this parcel? Vikram, who faked his own death, as his brother had done before. Rajiv on his behalf? Or perhaps Lakshmi, who knew more than she told? The truth, as always, remained somewhere between the shadows on the wall of a global game that never ends, but only changes its players. And the Scariest project? Perhaps it is already at work, quietly shaping your thoughts as you read this. Perhaps right now, the algorithm is analyzing your reactions, learning your habits, anticipating your desires. But this is a completely different story.